Hello, welcome to Talking Music. Thanks, Chris, for inviting me along. My name is Paul Coates Black. Today we're going to take a look at the latest release from Depeche Mode, Memento Mori. So, at a press conference in October 2022 announced the forthcoming release of this Depeche Mode's 15th studio album. It came as a welcome surprise to many following the death of founding member Andrew Fletcher some 5 months earlier. For the first time in the band's 40-year career, they were reduced to a duo of lead singer Dave Gahan and musician and vocalist Martin Gore. And whilst they provided the greatest contribution to the band in both songwriting, both members were quick to point out that without Fletch, they would never have survived this long, which had led many to question would they continue without him. Fletch may never have written a song, and musically he contributed very little. If you've seen the band live, you can testify to that. However, he was the glue that kept Depeche Mode together, something they recognise on page 2 of the arm sleeve booklet, where it simply has Fletcher's name, his years of life, and the quote, "In our hearts and minds, David Martin." The album consists of 12 tracks, with songwriting as normal being predominantly by Martin Gore. 5 tracks he contributed independently, a further 4 with psychedelic first frontman Richard Butler as co-writer. 1 track was a co-write between Gore and Dave Gahan, the final 2 tracks being written by Gahan, and in one case long-standing touring musicians Christian Eigner and Peter Gordino, and in the other, Gahan, Eigner, the album producer James Ford, who returns after producing their previous album, 2017 Spirit, and album engineer Marta Saloni. The album starts with second single, My Cosmos Is Mine, a track that heralds in sound back to the band's industrial sounds of the mid-80s, with lead singer Gahan's deep bass vocals soaring around the thumping instrumentation. This gives way to Wagging Tongues, a much more mellow and anthemic song, typical of the mode of the late 80s and early 90s. Gahan's vocals gently break over the drums and keyboard, with Gore's vocals accompanying in the chorus, with both band members singing, complementing each other beautifully. Next up, first single off the album, Ghosts Again. This has received widespread radio airplay across the UK, so I'm sure you've heard this by now, some 2 months after its release. It starts out as a gentle tune with keyboards, drums and guitar supporting Gahan's vocals. Just as an aside, the band are well known to release singles and a variety of remixes, and have done consistently over the last 40 years. Now, to date, despite Ghosts Again and My Cosmos Is Mine having been released digitally, they've not actually physically released any. If you're quick to get on, German magazines Rolling Stone and Music Express have released Ghosts Again as singles, so you can buy those as cover-mounted versions. They are available on eBay for an extremely large amount of money, but you can order them directly from Rolling Stone magazine. So you've got Ghosts Again and Never Let Me Down from Rolling Stone, and just Ghosts Again, and there's an etching on the B-side of that one. You can order them both together, and I think for myself it was about £22 for the pair, direct from Germany. Next up is Don't Say You Love Me, a soaring tune with strings featured throughout, alongside guitar work and gentle drumming. It's a more mellow tune than many featured here, but that's definitely not a bad thing, as it allows Gahan to give a strong vocal performance. If you're UK based, then check out the band's performance on the BBC iPlayer for Radio 2 recently, accompanied by the BBC Concert Orchestra. It features an older and a newer single, alongside a cover of Scott Walker's Sunbeam. Track 5 is My Favourite Stranger, which starts out with a thumping drum and a wailing synthesizer, both of which continue throughout the track, reminding me of elements from the Songs of Faith and Devotion era mode, with a keyboard drifting lightly underneath Gahan's vocals. Soul With Me is a track on the album which Gore provides the vocals for entirely. Drums and keyboards drift along underneath his tenor vocal range. Now, over the years, it contributed to some very strong songs, but sadly for me, this one disappoints. The instrumentation and the vocals, they just don't appear to blend together. I'm a huge fan of his solo numbers, but this just isn't up there with his other contribution. Gahan's back on the amusingly titled Caroline's Monkey, a song that relates to drugs and addiction. Great vocals from Gahan and musically a well-balanced song that I can imagine becoming a live favourite. Before We Drown, keyboard and synths populate the song with gentle vocals piercing out from Dave. Elements of this song take me back to the early days of the mode and other new romantic bands of the era, before the song fades out gently. Track 9 is People Are Good, another song with an industrial backbeat, reminiscent of the track People Are People from 1984's Some Great Reward album. But that's where the similarities end, though, as whilst the vocalists complement each other and it drifts along pleasantly, take the vocals away and you can have a track from Kraftwerk with a tune provided by the synths and keyboard. Whilst that might sound as a negative point, it's not. It's a fabulous song, and it demonstrates that the band still like after all this time to experiment with their sound? Always You has Gahan's gentle vocals accompanied by minimal instrumentation throughout the verses, rising during the chorus with inclusion of drums and strings. Inclusion of the words My Love and the mellowness of the tune is the closest this album gets to a ballad, though this is Depeche Mode, so not one of a happy nature. Penultimate track on the album, Never Let Me Go, another track where Gahan's vocals naturally soar and chorus and verses are separated by the inclusion of a hard synth and guitar on one, where the other is just keys. Album closer, Speak to Me, finishes lyrically in a melancholy fashion. Well, what would you expect? With Gahan's voice and gentle and subtle instrumentation primarily being keys with the odd inclusion of synthesizer, causing the song to rise in tempo, gradually around 90 seconds before the end of the song. Until 30 seconds prior to its end, a synthesized heartbeat commences and then suddenly stops, marking the album's end. In a summary, Memento Mori is a fabulous album. It demonstrates Depeche Mode continue to be relevant. They have something to say as well as being the innovators that they always have. For me, it's a return to form. It's been their strongest release since 2005's Playing the Angel. It had been written prior to Fletcher's passing, and only time will tell whether this will be where the band bows out with a bang. However, with the Global Spirit Tour of 2017-18 being the band's biggest to date, and more dates already been added to the Depeche Mode current Memento Mori tour, I suspect, and rightly so, it's not the last we've heard of the band. With the tour having already started in North America, 5 of the tracks off the album featuring the initial set list. To date, they're only playing one UK date as part of the tour at Twickenham in June, though I suspect arena dates will materialise for early 2024. The album is out now on Sony Columbia Records and available standard and deluxe CD. It's worth noting there's no extra tracks on this. It has a 28-page booklet and comes in a hardback form. Also, standard black vinyl, crystal vinyl, being exclusive to Amazon, and red vinyl. All of the vinyl has the music spread across 3 sides, with the 4th side being reserved for a laser etching of the wings from the album cover. And the Latin phrase, Este very malus, which translates as, that was really bad. Apparently Fletcher's favourite phrase, but definitely not appropriate to the music here. Thanks for listening. I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye.